SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Get SiriusXM and get the radio you love coast to coast. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com to activate your radio now.
Catholic Guy Show with Lino Rulli.
First thing I learned about parenthood is this is way harder than we thought. The second thing I learned is no matter what you tell a pediatrician, the answer is yes, that's normal. That also works with Christianity. This Christianity thing is really hard. It's really difficult to forgive people, to love my neighbor, to serve the poor. It's way harder than I thought Christianity would be. I go, yeah, that's normal.
The Catholic Guy Show with Lino Rulli, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. West, on the Catholic Channel, SiriusXM 129.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
We're blowing up online. Hip Hop Nation connects you to the biggest hits in the game. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you're. Just turn up and vibe. Hip Hop Nation, commercial-free hip-hop hits. Channel 44 and the SiriusXM app. To hear these channels, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. Let's see. You gotta get
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
Grando Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me and people who love the universe, what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Want to be my neighbor. Shut up! You know it's 3 o'clock in the morning? You know, I always try to bring people together because I am voted the neighborhood watch person. But I get up early. And when I get up early like the roosters, I wake the roosters up. I grew up on a farm. I used to wake up the roosters. But some neighborhoods, they don't appreciate roosters. But it's okay. I want to say on a beautiful May the 2nd in 2024, today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell him sit ya where the good Lord split you. And hopefully he didn't split you too wide. If that makes sense to you. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I'm telling you, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I knew I could use more laughter. And then, as I tell you, the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I do the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Dollar Dame for 3. Yes, in your life, get the hole. The great Dollar Dame is going to play tonight for Milwaukee. But King Giannis Antetokounmpo, he decided he's gonna take the day off, have a hitch in his giddy up. Hopefully, he's gonna be okay. But when players make that kind of money, you gotta keep them safe. Then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast applications all over the universe, and they're gonna need some applications tonight when the New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. What a series! I think New York closes out tonight. I may be wrong, but I think the Knicks are gonna get there and end up playing the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. I mean, it's just, I feel we're on a collision course to have either the New York Knicks or the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. It just feels that way. I know you got good old boys in Cleveland and Orlando, and then you got Indiana and Milwaukee, but it's looking like either New York or Boston is going to represent the East. On the West Coast, a little bit more difficult. I have the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets. I think they're going to win it all, even though I think Boston has a chance to beat them, maybe not New York. And if you say OKC, the Thunder, they are a solid team, but they're young, and I think that youth is going to catch up to them. At the same time, Minnesota with the Big Cat, that's a series a lot of people can't wait to see. You have the Joker versus the Big Cat. What a joke. What a joke that would be. At the same time, I want to say it goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. Number 10, streaming on 10 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. You know, I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about people who miss practice. But that's okay. You got to do what you got to do. But I'll never miss paying homage to the Crisis Hotline for veterans. The Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. The only complaint I've had is sometimes, Big C, you talk too slow. I say, talk too slow? I've been told by people I talk too fast. Some people say I talk too slow. Sometimes you can't worry about pleasing people. Either listen faster or listen slower, if that makes sense to you. But I do the best I can. I'm sure if you know anybody going through issues, you don't have to be a veteran, but you can pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And I love having somebody to lean on, especially when somebody's leaning back. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, He said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. Some of my pastor friends, they don't like when I say that God talked about reparations, but God did talk about reparations. And when he said, let there be light. You said, let there be light too. I felt pretty good today. Had a long, didn't really sleep well last night. I thought I did, but sometime I thought I had some wine and some chocolate before I went to bed, but I got it wrong. I melted the chocolate, and I drank a whole 2 glasses of chocolate and wine. You know, they say it's good for the heart, but I love doing that. And I got a show today. It's a little bit different. You know, I always champion the California Reparations Task Force because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I got a little bit of talk about an NFL player. That's someone that I've always thought was a great player, but didn't have the best attitude, Bill Romanowski. And then I got some information on the great Tiger Woods, where in your life, get the hole! That call by the great Vern Lindquist on the 16th at the Masters, when Tiger had that great putt that rolled into the hole and had that Nike commercial onto it. But there are people that say that Tiger could have had even more championships had he stuck with the same swing coach. But sometimes when you're always trying to get better, you might change things up, and that's what some people say that Tiger Woods did, and that's okay. I think one of the reasons that Tiger was so great is because he was able to change things up. And if you don't think about changing things up, then oftentimes you only stay as good as you are. But I appreciate what we learned from Tiger Woods with those 82 majors, and then you got 82 tour wins, and then 15 majors. The little boy could have had 20, but obviously things happen, and I'll talk about that. But I wanna say, in the world of sports, in politics, I want to make sure that I do my part in trying to bring the world closer together. I believe the way I was raised, you either lead, you either follow, or you get out of the way. And I've run across some information that I'm so emboldened by, and I'm thinking that I love sharing it for a reason, and that's why I want to make sure I pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force. It's more than just that, but that's something that's really major in this country, and it's sweeping all over the country when people talk about it. So I want to take the time to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force. As I say, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but you can Google every name that I say, and I've met everyone in person. The chair, Attorney Camila Moore, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Dr. Amos C. Brown, he's the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's been on the Big C Sports podcast. We have California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I've met him several times at Reparations Task Force and also in his office. And then I want to give praise to Councilmember Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's an expert when it comes to name, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And then Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Kamaki. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Give them all praise because they're doing a job, and their task force has already been completed, and now their findings are sent to the legislature in California, and I think we're going to pass with reparations. I want to credit the people who did the work. Anyone can sit back and say, "Oh, Big C, they're wasting their time," but they're not wasting their time, and that's why we have so many. I think there's 12 bills that are up right now to see if they can put those what they call ink to paper. When you sign bills into law, I know there are times people want to talk about what we can or cannot do. And even yesterday with Big C Sports Podcast, I had the privilege of having on a great woman, Dr. Pearl Alice Mars, a retired and former congressional senior policy advisor on Africa. And Dr. Mars has focused on black undivided family land retention in the South. If that makes sense to you, in the South, with her own family as a case study, as her uncle Ali Marsh always taught them that land is wealth, and Dr. Marsh is inspired by the California Reparations Commission on Work and reels. You think about this, all the reels of tape that you're going to hear over the years, it goes back to, did they do the work? Yes. She feels a great debt of gratitude to many people. Natasha Coates, who also brought the reparations discussion out of the slavery debate onto the construction and reconstruction of the oppression of white supremacy as we've moved into the 20th and 21st century. What do you mean by that, this thing? Well, if you Google the color of law, and that tells you a lot about some of the injustices that were designed. And you can even read the Kerner Commission. Just Google the Kerner Commission. These are not commissions that were made up by African Americans. But I ask for decent people, no matter what color you are. In life, we can either do the right thing or we can do the wrong thing. And that's what I love about doing work with the Reparations Task Force. I always feel I'm not someone to say, "Oh, they never going to do nothing." I'm not that kind of person. I believe if I have access to a microphone, if I can speak about things that are factual, then I either need to lead, I need to follow, or I need to get out of the way. The same way we have so many of our young, beautiful, intelligent black men, they can't wait to stand up for the tip-off. They're not going to miss the Knicks in the 76ers game tonight. They would miss it for the world. But there are times when they don't even know who their task force members are in their own states. And it's sweeping the country where more and more people are saying, let's do the right thing. How dare you not do the right thing when it comes to the descendants of chattel slavery? We've done it for the descendants of Holocaust, Survivors Today Act of 2017, Google it. Survivors Today Act of 2017, Google that. We've done it for Japanese Americans in internment camps. We've also done it for Native Americans because their lands were taken away from them. And this happened all over the world where there's a push for doing the right thing with reparations. And that's part of what I'm part of with Big C Sports Podcast. But at the same time, I have a commercial. And unlike a lot of people who have a commercial, they may go and do a take, and they may do a take 29 times in a studio someplace in Dimdare Hills. But for me, I do my commercials live. I do it in front of the whole universe. If I make a mistake, you can hear the mistake and say, oh, he made a mistake. But if I don't make a mistake, then you can hear I don't make a mistake. But it's not about whether you make a mistake or not. It's about, do you lead, do you follow, or do you get out of the way? A guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth resource development consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones, the missing link long-term care solutions by the book, over 3 decades of experience, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow in California is called Medi-Cal. And why would you listen to Big C and the RDC team? Your family and spouse can avoid, you want to avoid it avoid a pothole. You ever hit a pothole in the road? You want to avoid it. You don't want to hit a pothole, if that makes sense to you. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. Find out your options are promised to you to specialize and navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without the spend down. Now, all paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. It's nice when you get updates, isn't it? And then benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, and medical equipment costs. Do you know anyone that's ever dealt with skilled nursing facilities? Do you know anyone who's ever dealt with prescriptions? How about anyone who's ever dealt with medical equipment costs? And more. Not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. Are you talking about Aflac, basically? No, Aflac's the duck. That's Gap Insurance. We don't have a duck with the RDC team, but we do eat duck for lunch. Some of us eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if that makes sense to you. Even when that duck tries to hide itself in your rat hole. Don't let a duck hide your rat hole, if that makes sense to you. So we protect your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program, which can be from 10 to 40%. Probate loves when you don't have your assets protected. They love when you don't have a trust. They love it. They just give you a party. Don't have a will or a trust, because probate, they will come after your assets, if that makes sense to you. We take care of that, a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Well, Aflac doesn't do that. They say, no, Aflac does not. They're Gap Insurance. We protect your assets. Not only that, we have protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid, and attendance. What about fixed assets, Big C? I'm glad you asked. Your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market, your certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed index annuities. What about variable assets, Big C? I'm glad you asked. Real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. It's amazing when you look at what you do with the RDC team, over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. How do we do that, Big C? 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. And if that makes sense to you, give that some praise. I say give it praise, because everybody needs to give praise to somebody. So why would we choose the RDC team, Big C? Well, I'm telling you, anybody that tells you to follow them, why would you follow them? Oftentimes because they have good recommendations, what they call a reference. Well, when you to get a reference, make sure you have a good reference that you can Google. And that's why I like working with the RDC team. Not only do we help you protect your assets, we have some endorsements that you can Google and you look up and see yourself. Number one, I'm co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project, Northern California chapter. Also, we have the endorsements of attorney Scott Thibodeau. We have the attorney George Jones, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. We have the endorsement of Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, also works with the top lobbyists in California. We also have the endorsement of Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. We have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the president and CEO of Resource Development Consulting. He has the endorsement of the late top legal mind, Robert Carlson of CalPERS, if that makes sense to you. We also have Alice De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. Really do appreciate him. We also have Double O. She has her own economic awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can hear her on Access Saturday. So that, to me, give it all praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. We all need somebody to lean on, and I love doing that. But I want to take the time before I get into some sports, and I can't wait to see the New York Knicks tonight and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Joel Embiid said he guarantees they're going to win. I don't know if they're going to win this series. It's a tough thing to do, but he did say they were going to win this series. Now, whether they win or not, I want to know. I just want to see good games. I want to see players play hard. I believe that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. But more than that, I want to make sure that with BC Sports Podcast, I do more to help stimulate the economy, and it's by working with people who have bright minds. And I love having people with bright minds elucidate the subject when it comes to BC Sports Podcast. Pay attention. I'm going to bring up, in my opinion, one of the top attorneys in the United States when it comes to reparations. Listen to her thoughts. Her name is Ariva Martin. She's going to discuss civil rights and reparations, and she's so eloquent.
Not that cash payments by themselves are enough. It's that cash payments is one way to recognize the harm that was done. And it's very interesting when you look at the Jesuit universities, 27 of them, and the work that they've done in this area. They've gone through this very, very exhaustive process to investigate their relationship to slavery. I mean, so much so that they hired genealogists to trace and to find the actual descendants of enslaved people. So, I mean, you have to think about how expansive and, intense and comprehensive this research was. But then you have to also ask yourself, how come these institutions, with all of their resources, never, ever utilized an economist, a statistician, a labor, expert to tell us the value of the wages and the wealth that they accumulated? It just looks like this big gaping hole. So I think the question should be reframed. How come the universities aren't sharing with the families the value of the labor and the value of the wealth that they've accumulated? So people are always asking descendants or survivors, why do you want money? And I think the question should be the opposite. How come you're not coming to us with money? When you think about the 9/11 victims or any victims of a disaster in this country, there's never, ever a question about should we compensate them. That is a part of our civil, legal, judicial system. You have a harm, somebody else causes it, you are entitled to compensation. It's never, ever challenged, except in those examples where Black folks are involved. So I think we have to change the narrative around this question, and rather than, and not suggesting you're doing this, but oftentimes families or individuals who are seeking compensation are put on the defensive as if they've done something wrong. No fault of our own. We did nothing wrong. And if you worked for me, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner. If you worked for me and I never paid you, you would have recourse. You would be able to go to a labor board. You'd be able to go into our courts and demand your labor be compensated. You'd be able to get penalties against me for not compensating you. You'd be able to get interest on those wages that I didn't pay you. So again, this isn't like new to capitalism. This is how our country is built. This is how we operate today. You work, I pay. Let's be clear. So our request in terms of compensation restitution is not the total amount that was calculated. We calculated that amount because we felt like it needed to be a part of the conversation. It's on the table. We're not asking them for $74 billion. we're asking them to consider the value of that slave labor in the same way they are considering other aspects of their relationship with enslaved people. What we hope to get out of it is, first, that descendants are literally put back on this committee, that this is no longer a university exclusive committee, that the descendants are there at the table, that they commit to a timeline. Loyola University of Maryland went through this process and wrapped their work up in 2 years. So you can Google them and see what they've done in 2 years. We're into year 5, and we've not even sat down and talked about a plan. So we also hope that there's a commitment to wrap this work up in some foreseeable future, 6 months, 12 months, that it not just go on indefinitely. And then we are asking that the plan that is developed includes not only some of the things that we see in this work, monuments, things that give attribution to those who helped build this university, curriculum changes, projects that help the community. One thing we realized, so many people in St. Louis is a small city, 300,000 people. I live in Los Angeles now. They're like, 12 million people where I live. So few people had even heard of this work. So another part of what we're hoping that comes out of this is some resources spent educating people about this work, because people in that very community don't know. And then, of course, some kind of financial restitution for the labor, for the wages that have been uncompensated for this period of time.
In your life, in the hole. I love saying that. Civil rights attorney Areva Martins discusses reparations and recourse for descendants of chattel slavery. And ironically, there are many people who say, oh, we don't need to pay no reparations, but they also have insurance on their homes. And would you believe if they ever had their homes broken into, they would call 911 and say, I've been robbed. And they would ask law enforcement to try to come down and do an investigation to see if they can figure out what happened to their belongings. And would you believe if they could trace who stole their belongings, even people who are pros reparations, they would say, well, let me get what's mine. They wouldn't say, oh, we don't deserve to get what's ours. Somebody stole it fair and square. They would never say that. They would want to get what's theirs. And when we can trace what's happened to descendants of chattel slavery from 1619 to 1865, you get the Homestead Act, and from 1862 to 65, it had over 300 million acres of land given away to white Americans. Black Americans were excluded from that. And when people say, well, that's a long time ago. Well, there are people who have property because it was bequeathed from land that was inherited a long time ago. The homestead money is still here. You see it in generations. The people who benefited from the slavery, the slave trade, where land was passed down along with money and bank accounts and compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, they got the money. That's why there's a $1 trillion wealth gap. And even crooked people see that. So most decent people are going to push for reparations. No matter who you are, if you take something that doesn't belong to you, the law says you can give it back. I want you to listen to the greatest speaker ever in the history of this country.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, you know, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. You know, it's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
In your life, in the hole. I love talking about reparations. When you think about Lehman Brothers, Aetna Inc., J.P. Morgan Chase, New York Life, Wachovia Corporation, Rothschild's Sons and Bank in London, Norfolk, Southern, the United States Incorporated. You can go on and on and on. There are many corporations that benefited from slavery. We have to be honest about that. But I know America's different now because we have civil rights. We're signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson in the 64 Civil Rights Act. And he also signed some entitlements for long-term care with Dr. King in 1966. So I just love sharing with smart people. It's about good people doing the right thing. And every one of us knows right from wrong. And when we have people that may say, well, how are you going to make this happen? It's always the few decent people that make things happen. Like Shirley Chisholm, the late Shirley Chisholm, she's the first black woman to run to become the president of the United States. And there are many people who learned under her tutelage. And now there's a wave of people who are trying to do the right thing. When people talked about Hillary Clinton trying to crack that glass ceiling when she ran for the Democratic nomination to become the president of the United States, and she didn't win. And it was President Obama. Everybody has their own thoughts about who should run for what. But think about Shirley Chisholm. She ran first. She ran just after civil rights passed. So no matter what you think about whether someone should or should not run, doing the right thing is always the right thing to do. For anyone that says, "Oh, we don't need to pay reparations," it's too divisive. Well, when you realize you have life insurance, or you have car insurance, or homeowners insurance, if somebody steals something from you, you cannot tell me that you would not go to the insurance company and ask them to help you repair the damages. If someone stole your car and you have car insurance, if you were to go out to where your car was parked and it's gone, you know you would call your insurance company and report a stolen car. And they would have you call law enforcement, etc. And you know you would do it. You wouldn't say, well, whoever stole it, they deserve to keep it fair and square. You know, if you came home and your house was broken into, honey, we were robbed. You wouldn't just say, oh, well, they got it, they deserve to keep it. You know you would call 911 and you would report a burglary, and you want them to help you track down the people who did it. And then you want your stuff back. Even a crooked person has to agree to that. So if you want your stuff back, how do you make the same argument that it's anathema for African Americans to want what was stolen from us? The land that slaves worked, the land didn't disappear. Those white families, they bequeathed it from generation to generation. The land did not disappear. In fact, the farms did not disappear. Now, some of the buildings may have been torn down and rebuilt, but that land that the slaves worked on plantations from cradle to grave, it didn't disappear, still there. And some of those lands, they even have monuments on them. There's a plaque or a museum down in Alabama where they have these plaques hanging from the ceilings to represent the members that were lynched. Sanctioned by the United States government. So for people who say, oh, I don't believe in paying no reparations, the government owned reparations. They owe reparations because they sanctioned slavery. The same way Attorney Areva Martin told you so eloquently, if you are harmed by anyone, you have a right to seek a remedy through the court. And the federal government, they know that what was sanctioned by the United States of America was wrong. No matter how many times they have us play sports to get our mind off of what happened, they know it was wrong. And they can fix it. No one complained when the Me Too movement happened and white women were saying they were assaulted. They took those men in the court, and the court gave them punitive damages. Some men even went to prison. And you know that's true. And when it comes to descendants of child of slavery, the country owes a debt and it needs to repair it. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. In your life, do they like me strike? I got some NBA basketball to talk about as well. I'm telling you, in your life, get the hole! I'm telling you, NBA basketball is fantastic. There's a lot going on in the world of NBA basketball. I still hope that our beautiful, intelligent, professional leagues will champion reparations the same way we champion to end apartheid, because it's the right thing to do. All it takes is a few good people, and I know we have it. Just like yesterday's program, Dr. Pearl Alice Marsh, a retired former congressional senior policy advisor on Africa, she talked about how reparations are due. If we could just get the NBA to do the same thing. But tonight's the night in your life. Get the hole. I'm telling you, the great Joel Embiid, and he's playing tonight. King Giannis is out. NBA playoffs bracket. We have the 76ers from Philadelphia taking on the New York Knicks, and we have the Indiana Pacers taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. What a series that's coming out to be. So we have the Celtics became the fourth team to punch their ticket to the second round on Wednesday night. The Celtics, they knocked out the Miami Heat, and they beat the crap out of them, if you want to say that. And they beat them in 5 games, 4 games to 1. And the top-seeded Celtics, now they are moving on and will face either the Cleveland, this is for you, the Cleveland Cavaliers, or the Orlando Magic in the second round. The Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, defending NBA champions, Minnesota Timberwolves, they'll have their hands full of Nuggets, if that makes sense to you. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're trying to become the new kids on the block. I think they will ultimately get caught by their inexperience. That's just my opinion. So in the West, Minnesota and Oklahoma, they swept the Suns and the Pelicans respectively. And then while Denver, they took out the Lakers in 5 games, the Lakers led in every one of those games by double digits. But that leaves for an interesting 4 first-round series remaining: the New York Knicks versus the 76ers, and the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers, Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic, the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks in J.R. Ewing territory. And all that's going to stand is, can you get it done? It's a miss-and-make league. The Mavericks blew out the Clippers, who were playing without the great Kawhi Leonard on Wednesday night in Game 5. And they can close out the series at home on Friday night down in Texas. And they probably will. The Knicks and the Pacers both missed chances to finish off the 76ers and the Bucks on Tuesday in Game 5, but they'll get another chance tonight. The Cavaliers, meanwhile, can oust the Magic on Friday if they can get a road win in Orlando. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule, as well as the games that will be played on ESPN. So tonight, Game 6, the Pacers versus the Bucks, Indiana versus Milwaukee, 6:30 p.m. tip-off already underway on TNT. The Pacers lead this series 3-2. And then Game 6, we have the 76ers for the Knicks at 9 p.m. on TNT. The Knicks lead 3-2. If they get it done, then you know it's over. I'm looking forward to seeing some great basketball. I can't wait to see that game. All strand level war. So no matter what you think about NBA basketball, we have some great games, some great teams. And then the talk about should the Lakers fire Coach Ham? I don't think so. But who knows what's going to happen? People are going to do whatever they want to do when the big players, whether it's LeBron James, when he decides who he wants to play with. You know, things can happen where players with a lot of influence, they can make sure that they get a coach that they want to play with or play for. But I think Ham's done a great job with the Lakers. They took the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets to 5 games, and they led in every game by double digits. But I'm telling you my own opinion, as great as Anthony Davis is, when Coach Ham says we got to stay healthy, I think he's talking to his big superstar. You got to stay healthy, whatever that takes. If the guy can't stay healthy, then you got to say we don't fire the coach for that. If the guy can't stay healthy, not the coach's fault. But again, they got to find a scapegoat down in L.A., but I still think the Lakers had a fabulous team. If they didn't have to play the Denver Nuggets, they probably would have advanced. Maybe if they had played Phoenix, or if they played maybe someone like Dallas, or even the Clippers, I think they would have gotten past OKC. Maybe they already did that in the regular season. But that's my straight up ticket with it. In your life, Joel Embiid for 3, yes! We'll see what happens tonight. And then a little bit of sad news. It's not sad for the sake of sadness, but former NFL star football player and Super Bowl champion, he filed for bankruptcy while owing millions of dollars in taxes. And the Bill Romanowski played 16 seasons in the NFL, but is now filing for bankruptcy as the government tries to collect millions in back taxes. And the former NFL linebacker, Bill Romanowski, a 4-time Super Bowl winner, and his wife have filed for bankruptcy, which is a legal right to do, as they continue to deal with a federal lawsuit claiming they owe more than $15 million in back taxes. Now, it came out of a report in media that Romanowski filed for bankruptcy less than 24 hours before the hearing on the United States Department of Justice civil case against the couple, and the bankruptcy filing puts a temporary pause on the government's efforts to collect an estimated $15.5 million in back taxes. Now, anyone can say what they want to say about how's a player who made millions end up in that situation. Well, he's human, and people make mistakes. But the DOJ filed this lawsuit against Romanowski in June of 2023, according to reports. And then the government claims that the couple avoided paying taxes by using money from its nutrition company, from Nutrition 53, for personal reasons. Now, it's an accusation, and that's why you have the chance to defend yourself in court. But listen up, fellow athletes, and when it comes to asset protection, according to reports, court records show the couple set up bank accounts on behalf of Nutrition 53. This is where they should have gotten some great legal help. Allegedly, they then used the money for personal reasons, such as to pay for the rent of their California home, for more than 170 visits to salons and day spas, and to pay their daughter's rent, authorities say. Just keep that in mind. Bill Romanowski is only 58 years old. He played for 4 teams in the NFL during his 16 seasons, and the winning of 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers, and then 2 others with the Denver Broncos. He retired fall in the 2003 season while with the Oakland Raiders at that time. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, but he also had several controversies during his career, including spitting in the face of receiver J.J. Stokes for the 49ers during a 1997 Denver Broncos game against the 49ers. It was on Monday Night Football, by the way. In 2003, he attacked Oakland Raiders teammate Marcus Williams, crushing his eye socket, an injury that caused Williams to retire. He also admitted to using steroids and human growth hormones during his career. Now, I'm not encouraging any athlete to use that, but those are his own words that he did that. That didn't make him... I mean, obviously, people talk about roid rage, whatever it was. He had a great career, but life after football, it appeared that it was great. But if you owed $15 million in taxes, he must have been making a lot more money than $15 million, if that makes sense to you. So whatever he's going to do, he's going to have to deal with that. and I'm sure he has the lawyers that will help him figure out what he's going to do in this situation. I wish everybody the best, no matter what people thought about Bill Romanowski as an athlete. He was a great linebacker, didn't have the greatest personality, and less character than a lot of athletes have. But he's got his own situation to deal with. That's my story that I'm sticking with it. I do want to tell you, for you good old boys that love the game of golf, one of the greatest players, in fact, in my opinion, the greatest golfer in the history of the universe. Outside of me when I'm sleeping. When I'm sleeping, I can go, in your life, get the hole, yes! I love golf. I'm not as good as some of the professionals, but I did shoot at 66 one time. I've told this story many times. I was pumping my chest. I felt really proud of myself, and the people were saying, man, why you all happy, Curry? What's going on, man? I said, I just shot at 66. I feel good. I'm king of the world. I'm king of the universe. And the scorekeeper said, would you mind if we see your scorecard, Big C? I said, sure, look, I shot at 66. He said, Big C, you still got the back 9 to go. I said, oh. So 66 is not bad, but usually when you complete 18 holes, not when you complete 9 holes. But Gary Player says of the great Tiger Woods, the PGA Tour career, he said it's completely ruined amid making the wrong decisions. And again, these golfers have a lot of respect for each other. But Player dropped a couple of thoughts about what happened with Tiger Woods, and he said that Woods' career and how the changes prevented him from winning even more majors on the PGA Tour. And when you think about Gary Player, obviously one of golfing's great legends, he joined the German KW Golf YouTube channel to discuss various topics, including his health and fantastic golf courses, exercise, golf coaches, and the difference between pros and amateurs. Like a pro can really shoot at 66 on 18 holes, but an amateur, he can shoot at 66 too, but usually he is on 9 holes, if that makes sense to you. But most interestingly, he voiced his opinion on Tiger Woods' career and how the big cat, his choices saw him underachieve, and then relatively speaking, of course, and he started talking about how Tiger Woods had his career completely ruined. It was ruined by his swing. He won his 14th major at the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach in California, and he won by 14 shots the next week. He's also having a lesson from a man who I don't know. That's what again, every golfer, whether people are pro-Tiger or anti-Tiger, I don't find many people who want to cheer for someone to be a better athlete than them. Whether it's Bill Romanowski or whether it's Tiger Woods or anybody. You just don't find that. You just don't find that. But I gotta tell you, with Tiger, people are so fascinated with Tiger Woods. And he said the next week he's having a lesson from a man that I don't know. And he played in the Masters and couldn't break 80. But he's having a lesson from that guy. And he did not stop there. He said the 88-year-old explained that Tiger Woods continued to make what he deemed poor decisions by letting different people into his coaching. And then he goes to another guy who could not break probably 85 in the Masters with the pressure or the British Open or the PGA on the final day. And he's having lessons from them. And he said he was so good, but I understand he wanted to get better. A lot of great people want to get better at everything. We all want to get better at something. Like the United States government wants to get better at paying reparations. America's biggest sin. Even people who are anti-reparations, they know if they got robbed, they'd make a report to law enforcement. And they want their stuff back. How dare you not want reparations? It's the right thing to do. But back to Tiger Woods. It says he was so good and he understands that he wanted to get better. If he wanted to get along and never change, he would have dominated and maybe won 22 more. And he would have gone down as the greatest athlete the world has ever seen, man or woman on the planet. But he made some of the wrong decisions, and that's from Gary Player. It doesn't mean that he has his own opinion. Tiger has his own opinions too. But Gary Player goes on to state that there are at least 20 players that have screwed up their game because of their swing coach. and the choices they made. And he named Trevor Immelman, Mike Weir, Michael Cameron, and also Tiger Woods as a few examples. But when you think about how great Tiger Woods was on the golf course, Tiger won his 15th major at the 2019 at the Masters. A tradition like no other in your life. Get the hole, yes! The great Tiger Woods had the largest TV audiences when he was doing his thing, walking those 18 holes, and taking home the green jacket for his 5th time in 2019. And after that, people know he had the horrific car crash in 2021 that set him back. So unfortunately, he hurt his leg so badly that whether he'll win another tournament or not is debatable. He will probably win something. And from great player, he noted the 24-time the PGA Tour winner explained how he will always root for Tiger Woods because how he changed the game of golf. When Tiger started doing this thing, it made all the other golfers more money because the revenues went up, the purse went up, the sponsorships went up. He was great for everybody. He made so much money, he even turned down LIV, which gave golfers more money in one check than they made in their careers. I think Phil Mickelson got over $200 million. Tiger didn't fall for it. He didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. But Player did not drop any swing coaches' names, but those who have followed Tiger Woods' career, they likely know who he's talking about. And at ruining the 82-time winner's career, 82 times. That's a record. Regardless, he voiced a strong opinion that will certainly create some discourse. Did Tiger Woods ruin his career by changing his swing so many times? Or were injuries or other elements causing him to underachieve as a golfer? Everybody has their own thoughts about the great Tiger Woods. No matter what Tiger did whatever he could to be the best golfer that he could be on the golf course. And as dominant as he was, he had to get to the situation where he had some things that happened in his life that took his focus off of playing golf. And that, I think, was media created also. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, I feel that Tiger Woods is still the name that makes people turn on the TV when he's playing golf. You have players like the great Brooks Koepka, and obviously Gary Player chips in. Everybody has their own thoughts about Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods. When they were, I think, the top 2 in the world, it was always must-see television. Even if you did not want golf to be your weekend recreational thing, people watched it. They brought a lot of excitement to the world of golf. And I just think, no matter what I think about Tiger Woods, and obviously he's made so much money, over $1 billion, I believe, it would have been great if he would just champion reparations. Wouldn't that be something? Even if you don't champion reparations, at least if you champion the people who do. But that's me. That's my thing with Big C Sports. But I love what I do with Big C Sports Podcast, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to connect people, the athletes and the entertainers that have a huge platform, that people can listen to them. If you think about the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, and she led people to freedom. And then I had the privilege of having Dr. Pearl Alice Marsh, a retired and former congressional senior policy advisor on Africa. And Dr. Marsh has focused on black undivided family land and retention in the South, as well as her own family. Land is always the key. Keep the land. Always do that. I also had the privilege of having on the program, Big C Sports Podcast, Helena Straughter. He started in 2003, organizing various seminars and workshops, and then educating the community regarding changes in the real estate market. In 2006, she became a real estate broker. She also is an active in the Democratic Delegate Assembly, District 18, from 2008 to 2014. She's been on Big C Sports Podcast, and she actually loves sports too. Associate member of the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, the Black Caucus Director, Region 6, California Democratic Finance Committee, and also Alameda County Consumer Affairs Commission in 2011. There's so much that she's been able to do. In December 2010, she received a certificate of special congressional recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community from Congresswoman Barbara Lee. She also received, if you think about how great she's done, commendation in 2010 from Ella Hill Hutch, honoree for Alameda Board of Supervisors. there's so much that she's done to be a part of success in life, and she also came on to Big C Sports Podcast. I love mixing up what I'm doing with audiences and people, and it's not the end, it's the beginning. So no matter whether you like touchdown, home run, 3-point play, oh man Willie, he's going all the way. I love trying to mix it all together with Big C Sports Podcast. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say tonight we have some NBA basketball. We have Indiana versus Milwaukee. And Dalla Dame's going to play, but King Giannis Antetokounmpo is not going to play. We have Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks. Can't wait to see that game. Now, Joel Embiid said that they're going to win the series when they were down 2-0. Now the Knicks are up in this series. They're up 3-2. And to me, it feels like it might be the last dance. Not the Michael Jordan last dance, but it might be the last dance for the Philadelphia 76ers. If that happens, Joel Embiid, is he the go-to guy now for Philadelphia? I still say yes, even though some people say Tyrese Maxey. But when you have a sore knee and a hitch in your giddy-up, you're not going to be as explosive as you normally could be. And now I did hear in Philadelphia that the owner bought 2,000 tickets so that the New York fans couldn't come in there and drown out the 76ers fan base. Not that it's embarrassing or not, but that's how passionate the New York Knicks fan base happens to be over a basketball game. Imagine if they were to join New York State Governor Kathy Hochul in championing reparations with that same kind of passion. Would that be amazing? At least in my opinion, that'd be amazing. I love mixing it all together like a nice gumbo. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. No matter what you do, always try to do the right thing. I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my beautiful great-grandparents, Mamo and Pop, my beautiful grandparents, Muddia and Hezekiah. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. The best person I ever met in my life. Always saying rise and shine. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, told me when I was 8 years old, walking through a hallway in Oakland. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. Really do appreciate her. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. When top is speak. And voracious reader, always saying go forward. My beautiful daughter Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, and 3.5 years from a major university. Can be anything you want to be. And I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always tell you, trust God. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. You can be anything you want to be, Daisy. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with everything I have. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always look up stats on players and teams in the newspaper. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now streaming Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all I have, with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe, saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no three-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is a little bit earwax in my pineal gland. And I try using it as much as possible. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because Mothers Against Drunk Drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You could call Uber, you could call Lyft, you could walk it off, you could sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and drive after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story that I'm taking with him. As I always tell you, my beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. We need more LEADA in our life. LEADA is an acronym for love of the answer. If anybody's hitting you, I only hit you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone's choking you out, I only choked you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone's kicking you, I only kicked you because you made me mad. Call 911. You should never have to put up with that knucklehead. No man, woman, or child should ever put up with that crap. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. But as I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to champion reparations now. Reparations forever. Oh, I love seeing that. And then I float like a butterfly, that sting like a bee. Well, you know, on every show I honor President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King when they said, come on, President Biden, use that pen and sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. Say it like your heart, mind, body, and soul believes in it. Let's sign reparations now. Reparations forever. Let's cheer the way you cheer at a game in your life for 3 years. Reparations now. Sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.